All right, episode 5 of The Wealth Architect. I'm Emilio DiSpirito. I'm your host for the hour. And I'm excited because we have Tom Canterino, and Tom is an expert in everything social media. He's an expert in everything SEO, search engine optimization, and digital marketing. And he's the owner of LevelUP Digital Solutions. And they focus on making sure businesses get their name, their brand, their message out there. And also, he's going to be here talking to us today about follow-up and the importance of follow-up and really maintaining that client base and growing your business through existing clients and also reaching new clients and what it takes to do so. So super important. This is probably the most important topic that we've discussed for building wealth on this show, because it's going to bleed into all different types of businesses, not just real estate, not just finance, but every and any business at all. So Tom, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you being here. So Tom, follow-up, we know, is sales is make or break for businesses, right?
Definitely. And the majority of folks or the majority of businesses, they lack their follow-up skills and they are leaving a lot of money on the table essentially. So
it's crazy. I think, and what we're going to do is I want to pull up this statistic, this graphic that I pulled up. So 48%, almost half of salespeople never ever follow up, right?
makes sense.
What is that? When you hear that half of your competition doesn't follow up, what does that tell you?
It means that I have a lot of opportunity and there's a lot of money that's being left on the table.
Yeah, exactly. So I get excited when I see that 25% of salespeople make a second contact and stop. 12% of salespeople only make 3 contacts and stop. And only 10% of salespeople make more than 3 contacts. 2% of the sales are made on the first contact. And then you really boil this all down, and it says 80% of the sales are made on the 12th contact.
Yeah. 12, because in marketing, we need at least, depending on what industry you're in, we need at least 7 to sometimes 20 touch points before someone converts.
Yeah.
So us thinking that we're just going to advertise, market, and then get a client in is really, we're shooting ourselves in the foot, because the profits are in all of the follow-up.
That's right.
And then there's a lot of opportunities that you can be doing, because following up takes time, right? There's automations that you can put in place. There's a lot of things that you can kind of foundationally put in place to have the follow-up be happening autonomously, but look like you're the one that's actually following up with the person.
Well, there's a lot to unpack there, and I want it. That's really great. So first and foremost, why does it take the consumer? Because we need to look at this from the consumer lens. If we're going to improve our business, if we're going to improve our sales pipeline, we have to look at consumer activities. We have to look at their mindset, their expectations, and we have to really kind of pull that back. It's like a layer of an onion, right?
100%.
Many layers. So let's start with that, okay? Why does it take so many touches, so much frequency to get in front of clients?
Yeah, the biggest one being trust. So unless if someone's coming to you from a non-referral, or if someone's just searching on Google or searching on Facebook or whatnot, and is just seeing your business or seeing what you have to offer, that's one touch point, and that's great. But then they're going to have to start to get a little nurtured. So most of the time, if they're going to see one podcast or one social media post or something like that, those are all touch points that the consumer is saying, okay, I'm building more trust, I'm building more authority, more credibility. Maybe they're coming to our website. They're getting a little more information. Then we're capturing their IP address, so then we can remarket to them. And then we're trying to bring the consumer down the funnel. So they're starting at the very, very highest funnel awareness. Then we're just trying to whittle them down over time until they're ready. When they're ready to convert into a sale.
Makes sense. And what you said was you want to gain their trust, and consumers and people are human, and humans trust consistency. We trust consistency. So when you're constantly seeing the same thing, the same message over and over and over and over, it's going to
Resonate, right?
Resonate with them and speak to them, hopefully. But that also brings us to this part of the layer of the onion, Tom, is that, yeah, they're initially seeing maybe a video or a podcast or some high level type of marketing. But then when they go in and when they click the website, does that website message carry over? Does
Did
the
they have a good
social
experience?
media
Right.
carry over? Yeah. And is that experience the same?
Right.
Or is it clunky?
Exactly. Or are the visuals the same? Did they have to your point, they have to have a really good experience. So if someone's going to come to our website, the website has to load really quickly. They want to fill out the intake form or the call button. We have 5 seconds to convert them before that they dropped off and left. And it is I have a statistic, acquiring a new customer costs anywhere from 5 to 25 times more than nurturing or milking your existing customer base.
5 to 20 times more. And it's 5 to 20. It's actually infinitely harder. It's infinitely harder to get a new
100%.
client on now more than ever, right?
Yep.
Like, you own a business, I own a business. Okay, one of my businesses, Tom, as you know, is real estate.
Yes.
And you literally, when a lead comes in, a seller or a buyer come in, I tell my advisors, I say, listen, you have to be on that call right away, because 87% of consumers are doing business with the first person that calls them.
Exactly.
Almost 90%, almost 9 out of 10 times.
Yep.
Is your business like that too?
100%. I mean, because I know if I'm not answering the phone as a consumer, if I was to put myself in my prospects' clients' shoes, they're going to Google, they're typing in digital marketing agency near me, they're seeing a few results. I'm one of those results, but so I'm there with my competitors. So I know if ABC store down the road is going to see me and my competitors and they're calling me and I'm not answering or I'm not responding, I know that they're then just going to go on to the next and on to the next.
That's right.
And there's ways to, if you're a one-man band or if you can't be on your phone all the time, there's ways to automate, especially nowadays with AI. You can have a AI virtual assistant that's answering your phones that literally sounds like someone for you. So there's those type of tools that can be put in place to help.
Yeah, I mean, that's super helpful. I was actually thinking about automating, some of our stuff for some of my businesses because, why not? But there's something that's missing from AI, and there's something that's missing from that type of conversation and overall follow-up, and it's the authenticity, it is the human touch. And I think that if you can, like, you're a great speaker, Tom, and you're somebody that can connect with people. Okay, I've known you for what, 6 months, 7 months now, right? But I feel like I've known you for years.
Right.
Okay, so what happens now? I feel like you when you know somebody, sometimes you talk with somebody the first time, you feel like you've known them for years. What happens?
You build that trust.
You build that relationship, you build that trust. And then now you have a client who should be somebody that's raving for you and referring you, right?
Exactly. 100%. And that's just another layer of your own follow-up is nurturing your clientele. You know what I mean? And I always say when businesses come to us, I always try to look at what are they currently got going on? What are they doing right? What are they doing wrong? And how can we kind of find a medium ground to get more runway, more or less. And I always like I put together what's called the money on the table test. So money on the table is asking what is the percentage of your customers that will buy again, and if it's under 20%, we're losing money on the table. So at that moment, we want to put a strategy. We want to put a strategy together because we don't have to be working that hard for
under
our leads.
20% though. Like who's like?
Correct.
You see businesses that have a retention of clients under 20%.
Right.
That's bad.
It is. It's so bad. It's so bad. Businesses aren't segmenting. There's a lot of good tools that we can put in place as well. Email marketing, SMS marketing. And our biggest job is to get the prospect comfortable to do business with us without having to. Obviously, a referral is a really nice warm handoff.
Sure.
But if it's not a referral, it's very cold. And we have to do a really, really good job to nurture that lead to make them warm without them needing to meet us.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about that, right? Because what I find working with hundreds of salespeople over the years, Tom, is that they're like, well, where do I start? Like, what do I say? What do I do? And there's one rule that I tell everybody not to do. And you'll see some of the best coaches, I've heard them say this too, and is never say, I'm just calling to follow up. You're literally shooting yourself in the foot and you're telling that person, hi, you are a number to me. I have no value to give you. I'm just calling you to follow up.
100%.
All right, let's talk about what a proper follow-up should sound like or look like.
Yeah, so I mean, from a email nurture perspective, there's a few things you can do. If it's an existing customer, I always like to put in thank you sequences. So just nurturing a thank you. Usually during like a discovery call, like an initial call when I'm just getting to know, just starting to get to learn a prospect. I try to get a more of a personal approach, more or less. So grab their favorite sports team or what their son is doing at school or whatnot. And if that lead did not convert, instead of just sending a follow-up that says, just checking in, say, hey, hope your son Michael is doing great at Penn State, hope blah, blah, blah. And just making, not only are you becoming a human at that point, you're showing that you actually care about pay attention, and you also show that you're just not there for money and just for a closed business. You actually have some sort of care. So I always like to say, whenever I'm following up with a prospect, I always like to have some sort of humanity angled towards it and not just be asking for what's going on, what can we do, etc.
Yeah, that's huge. You know, I've learned over the years, right? And I've fallen on my face over and over and over. And it's kind of part of the process of growing, right? You have to crawl before you walk, right?
Definitely.
You do. And it's like anything else. But listening to podcasts, listening and reading books and things like that, Tom, and listening to the pros is going to help you skip ahead light years, okay? And the best thing that you can do is provide value, meet that client where they're at, and understand. So when people come in to me, okay, whether it's a prospect or a referral or a cold online lead or a cold call, I'm literally stopping people in their tracks. And I'm saying, listen, I'm here to understand your needs. That's it. Hi, I'm Emilio. I'm here to understand your needs. What are you looking to do? What has motivated you to start your real estate search? What has motivated you to start your car search? What has motivated you to start looking into software, to start looking into a marketing company? What has motivated you to take this step?
Exactly.
Sit back, listen, write down everything. And then the other thing that I've found over the years too is listen to people's pain points, not only in their personal life, because they're going to tell you, right? In their professional life too. They may have a car problem, right? They may have a this and a that problem. And then what does that do? What does that leave you to do?
Provide them with other resources.
Solutions.
Resources. Right.
And hook your referral partners up.
Exactly.
Who are then going to refer you.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And talk about some amazing follow-up, right?
There's a few things from a follow-up perspective that works really well. So again, if we're going to be doing another type of campaign is what we call keep them engaged. So it's our email list that is our clientele that have bought from us, that know us, and we're just going to be keeping engaged. So we're going to be sending them a newsletter, or just something that is kind of middle of the road. It's not asking for anything. It's just giving them more content, and just again more touch points, more visibility, to be showcasing that. Another good campaign that we do a lot is what's called the win back campaign. So this might be a lead or a prospect that we were nurturing for some sort, and then they just went cold and we lost them.
Happens all the time.
So we just need a way to get back in front of them. We want to be really respectful. Maybe we want to, at that point, pair digital with print. And maybe we want to be sending them an automated thank you letter or something like that. Really just to try to, the more we can do things that our competitions are not doing, and also then reverse engineer the whatever the pain point of the clientele is wanting, that's when we just nurture and put together a really good campaign.
That's right. And marketing is all about giving someone an experience, right?
Yep.
And it's all from that first message, and then it takes them through. And different companies have different approaches. Some companies are marketing to global customers, right? So they're never potentially going to get that face to face, right? But if you have a business that is face to face,
Yep.
I feel like it's almost easier in a way, because once you get in front of somebody, you have, and I'm sure there's statistics on this, you have a higher percentage of converting business when you shake someone's hand.
Definitely.
You know,
Definitely.
and there's something too that, I would suggest people look into and go into Chat GPT.
Mm-hmm.
And here's a hack for you. Chat GPT. Here's my business, here's what I do. How can I sell with the senses?
Yep.
How can I give people a full experience with all of their senses in my project, in my marketing, in my offering? What can I do? And the reason what prompted me to think of that, Tom, is you said send them a thank you, right? Well, if you're sending them a thank you, does your business card have a nice soft feel to it, right?
Yep.
Like our business cards are like almost like cardboard. You give them to somebody, they're feeling it, it's super soft, and they're like, did you give me 2 cards?
Yep.
Immediately it's a pattern disruptor. It makes them remember, right? So people learn in so many different ways.
It is so true, and that's why trying to think outside of the box on some of those tactics a lot of the time pay dividends. And then something else that's really important too is majority of the time all businesses have a lot of different customer segments. So maybe if we're talking about real estate, maybe we work with luxury, maybe we work with multi or what have you. We can put together whenever the leads come to us, you can put automations in place to segment, because the investor that's buying multifamilies is probably a little bit different than the doctor who's just looking for a brand new house in the water.
Correct.
So we want to make sure that always the messaging is, when a lead comes in, they're being segmented, they're being tagged, and they're being put into the correct automations.
That's actually the number one fail that I see, is that people aren't meeting the consumers where the consumer is at, whether it's a past client or a current client. People don't want spam.
Right.
Now more than ever, people want highly tailored, highly customized marketing. Tom, how can somebody accomplish this, right? As a business owner, you got so much to do. How do I accomplish as a business owner to segment each different individual market, each individual lead that comes in?
Yeah,
What's the cheat code?
that's a loaded question. A few things. So what's really cool, it all boils down to technology. And one of the things being, so for instance, we work with an e-commerce beauty brand that does lotions and facial products and whatnot. What's cool about that brand is on Facebook and Instagram, the moment that the lady or gentleman is interacting with that ad, they're going to see a remarketing ad, and it's literally going to have their name on the lotion. So they're going to be scrolling Facebook, Instagram, and they're going to be like, "Oh wow, how did they already have my name on it?" And
Yeah.
it's just another way to break the noise and trying to get more business. And really is, and that's really outside of the box, because that's just utilizing the machine learning, and that's just utilizing what's already at our
My
fingertips.
gears are turning. Like every time I talk with you, my gears like turn, right? So, what has been the most effective overall attention getting ad that you have placed for your clients? What has brought in the best, most biggest engagement?
The ads that we ask clients or their clients to share things. So if we have an ad, if we do a contest ad, normally those type of ads, we see a really high return on investment because people are engaging with the content. So it's tag 5 friends. It's a contest, win a Las Vegas trip, right? And we're just trying to get leads. We're trying to get email
Does anybody
addresses
ever
or what.
win the trip?
I mean, from me, if I'm doing the ad, I'm making sure yes, because I have to be ethical at the end of the day. When we see those type of gifting, what's good about it is people are engaging. So they're storytelling, they're tagging their friends, they're telling about their their experience, etc. And not only do we see those have a higher return on investment, but then we also in turn see the social medias have an extreme spike, because in social media world, the algorithm is content, but content that is quality and authentic, that gets shared, that gets liked, that gets saved, etc. So the more and more we do of that, we're then getting added benefit with our own social media channels.
You know, if you're just tuning into this podcast now, we're talking with Tom Canterino, and Tom is the owner of LevelUP Digital Solutions, and he focuses on helping businesses to increase their overall exposure through search engine optimization, through social media, and several different platforms to really engage your prospective client, your past clients, to pull them in, get in front of them. And we were talking about how it is 5 to 20 times easier to engage and follow up with your past clients and to earn their business than other prospective clients.
Right. And believe this.
Noisy out there.
Repeat customers spend 67% more than just cold customers, because they're nurtured, they feel good, they
know the outcome.
They know the outcome, they know, and exactly. So I mean, there's a lot, and then on top of that, then they're going to start referring. So the more happy they are, the more they feel heard, they're going to tell their friends, family, and then it just starts to snowball, and it starts to be a beautiful thing.
The power of the brand, and your brand has to tell a story, whether it is whether you're a one-person company, and every company out there, by the way, pretty much started as a one-person company.
Sure.
It was somebody with a vision, but the companies that are successful are owned and operated or started by people that could take their vision, explain their vision, materialize their vision, and tell a story and captivate an audience and pull the people in. And if you look at I love to go out to eat, right? If you're going and you're in Boston or Chicago, okay, and you drive by a Capitol Grill versus some local yokel steak place, where are you going to go?
The local.
The local? Wow, I was going to go to Capitol Grill because I know what I'm getting there.
Fair.
Totally derailed me, but no. But everybody's got a different preference. But and you're open-minded. But for the most part, people are going to go with what they recognize, right?
Sure.
They're going to go with that brand that they recognize. There's something familiar there. They know what they're going to get, and it's the reason why McDonald's has been so successful, because you know you're probably going to get a kind of a crappy burger or something, but you know what you're going to get. It's going to be quick, it's reliable, it's going to be cheap, and you're in and out. So people they're doing that when they're traveling.
Yeah, that's fair. That's definitely fair.
Yeah. So Tom, what else where do you see the wheels really fall off, like on businesses or on follow-up or marketing?
Just not having any type of very basic system put in place. And we might think that we need this over the top, very intrinsic system, but it can be very simple. I mean, it can be as simple as having an email campaign. So having MailChimp or Klaviyo or there's hundreds and hundreds of them, having have something put in place that's working behind the scenes without you needing to worry about it. If you have an email campaign put in place, if all the leads that are coming in are properly segmented in a CRM system, and everyone should have any business owner should really have a CRM system, and it can be very, very simple to extremely built out and elaborate, but that's just where we're going to be not only monitoring our leads converting into opportunities, but we're also segmenting our prospects to making sure they're going into the right email campaigns. Then we want to make sure our email campaigns are being appropriately built out. On top of that, again, not everyone consumes media where we want them to consume media. So if we're doing emails, we might want to also send out text messages, because maybe a text message will resonate a little bit better than an email that might be going to spam. And then on top of that is just making sure all of those systems are talking to each other. Because at the end of the day, if I can jump into a CRM and I can say, hey, Emilio opened this email 16 times, scroll down to this part, that's telling me a good story. And then I might want to call Emilio and say, "Hey, Emilio, did you see something that you were interested in?" Or you can really start to drill down into
Sure.
your marketing instead of it just being a one size fit all.
There's so much there too that we can look at, okay? And it's like you were talking about the email marketing, and when you're sending out email marketing, when you're sending it out to your different client segments, it should be customized to what their wants are. And earlier in the podcast, you said you're not going to send a doctor looking for luxury real estate on the water, multifamily homes, and it's very hard to get there. You just have to take steps to do it. One of the guerrilla marketing tactics that you can use if you do use email marketing and you're in a business where it's, where you're calling people or reaching back out to them, which should be most businesses, right? With a sales team, a sales staff, is to look at the email and see what they clicked. And if they clicked a link on, hey, I want to find out, my home value, or I want to get the
Hmm.
value of this car, or I want to find out, more on this information for this type of travel, whatever it is, Tom, you can literally call them, text them and say, hey, Tom, I noticed that you clicked for more information on your home value. Are you interested in refinancing? You just curious about the price? Or are you looking to sell your home? What information do you need for me to help you?
Exactly.
It's a whole different level of
Right.
follow up.
Right. And it's because it's the clients being able to tell their own story about what their pain points are really without even telling us.
Mm,
So then we're able to look like heroes
yeah.
and we can jump in and say, we have a solution, even maybe without even asking of what they were looking for, maybe just provide them that solutions because we have context clues saying they clicked on XYZ
Yeah.
16 times. So it really just, it starts to, a lot of our competitors aren't getting this down into the weeds. And I will say it doesn't take that much time and effort to get a lot of these systems put in place, and they will pay dividends because I can't tell you when I work with clients, they don't have they're just trying we're trying to go after net new.
Yeah.
New clients, but a strategy should also be to let's try to milk our existing herd
Hmm.
that we have. Let's nurture them, let's reach back, let's put together something maybe not every industry is going to it's not going to be not every industry would make sense. Like someone's not going to be buying a house every single month, more or less.
Yeah.
But
No.
again, just to get in front of them, just to make sure they're getting some sort of education, they're having visibility on us, and that they feel also heard and that we're heard as well.
Yeah, no, that's huge. The other thing too about running a business and making sure you're following up is you've got to really believe in what you're selling and what you're doing. And if you can't get behind it, or you don't know the right message to tell, or you're not feeling it, you should probably be doing something else, because that's where I also see the wheels fall off. And,
Yep.
and and I couldn't go out there and sell golf clubs because I don't know a lot about golf. I have a shitty swing, and I'm most of the time, if I'm playing 18 holes, I've lost 18 balls. Okay,
Yeah.
it's just horrible. So I'm not going to go out there and sell that.
Right.
What I do know is real estate. What you do know is digital marketing.
Hmm.
So those conversations, if even if you don't know everything about the business, you're energized by the topic. And when
Right.
you're energized about the topic and enthused about the topic, that's going to bleed through, and that stuff is contagious.
100%.
That
Very
stuff
true.
is contagious, man. You were talking about CRMs, and is there like a specific type of software that you've seen people use, or is there something that you put into play for your clients, or you just work with what they have, or how do you
Yeah,
walk us through
so
that?
we'll always work with really any CRM that the client might already have. There's depending on the industry, depending on their service type CRM. There's thousands of
So many.
CRMs. I will say best in class when we do digital marketing campaigns, if
Yeah.
we're doing paid ads, paid media, my biggest job is I'm looking at the analytics. So I want to make sure that the tools that we're utilizing internally are going to paint me a good picture on what's working, what's not working.
Mhm.
So the few tools that we really utilize best-in-class digital marketing CRMs is a product called Go High Level, GHL. You can do really pretty much everything within there, from your text messaging to your email segmenting. You can build out landing pages. You can really, it's a full suite digital marketing platform. Then there's some others, Podium, Get Response, and some other really basic ones. But you can really go Zoho,
Mhm.
You can go all the way up to Salesforce. I mean, you can start really base, and then over time be work your way up to where you
Yeah.
need to be. That's what's good about CRMs. Usually they come pretty basic,
Mhm.
and it's really you working to build out your CRM so it's working for you and your business.
Yeah, that's right. Tom Canterino, Level Up Marketing's digital solutions, Level Up Digital Solutions. Did I say that right?
Yes,
Okay, great. And Tom is an expert in everything SEO, search engine optimization, and different types of advertising, all digital, to pull your potential clients in, your past clients in. And I guess they should never be called past clients. They should always be current clients. Okay.
exactly. Yes.
And um, Tom, have you ever heard about the psychology behind referrals?
Hmm.
I was told this, and I'm
I'm not
curious if
sure.
you've ever heard it. Okay. Do you know why people refer services or professionals?
Does it
Like,
make them feel good
you're
or
on the right
makes
track. Yeah.
them
Validated, right?
validated? Okay, yeah.
Because guess what? Like, let's say if I'm going to the doctor, okay, and it's for whatever, dermatologist, right? Going to a dermatologist, and if somebody needs that service, I'm going to be like, hey, use my guy,
Yep.
right? As long as you have a good experience, but
Sure.
because it's going to validate that you've made the right choice. And when they go to that person, they say, hey, you know what? I use Dr. So and so. They're fantastic. Oh, all right, that's good, right? And that's really the subconscious, I don't want to say default, the subconscious motivation for referrals.
Makes total sense. And then they're also at that point, they're probably then they're going to come to our see something that maybe they didn't convert or they didn't go see the doctor or whatnot. Then, but they came to our website and they saw something. Then we're able to not only do they have whenever we get a warm referral in, we're like 60% to a close. That it cuts off a lot
Wow,
of
huge.
the follow up. So if we just need to kind of get them over the hump a little bit more, that's when if we have on our website installed a remarketing pixel,
Mm,
we're then able to, when someone comes to our website, we're capturing their IP address and then we're remarketing to them wherever they consume a piece of media across the entire web
yeah.
to get them a little bit further. Maybe they need to see another testimonial video from someone that's not their friend.
Hmm.
Maybe that will get them in. So that's why that's why whenever we're working or wherever we're putting together some sort of marketing strategy, we want to know all of those touch points. We want to know what's going to be moving the needle, reverse engineering what's bringing in your clients to want to see you, and really just try to get that whole picture. Because at the end of the day, in the digital marketing industry, not only does it rapidly change,
Yeah.
especially now with the day and age of AI, things are changing almost weekly, definitely monthly. So we just want to make sure we're keeping up to date with all that.
It's you bring up another good topic there, Tom, that you can't be on top of every last thing. Every industry is changing and being disrupted,
Hmm.
and really our focus now, I heard yesterday, knowledge is no longer the power, right? It's not power, it is not in that. The value, I'm sorry, is not in the knowledge. The value now, I believe, is in human connection and overall experience.
100%.
And if you can leverage all of these tools and all these professionals and all of these things, and it sounds almost crazy to think like, well, I have a startup business or I've got this type of business. How do I afford that? You just have to start somewhere, and you have to start small, but you have to take the action, and you have to make sure your clients are having a great experience that they can refer to
Right.
other people. And I think that's really the gold standard.
Yeah, and not being as a business owner, don't be afraid to ask your clients, did you have a good
Yeah.
experience? Like, and if you didn't, what could we have done better?
Yes.
Or and that's also a lot of folks that we work with. they're always nervous about surveying their clientele or what we call issuing out a NPS score, a Net Promoter Score. But again, you have the business, you've already closed the business. Let's make sure that hopefully they had a good experience, but let's make sure they had a good experience. Because if they didn't, they're going to tell, I think if someone has a bad experience, they tell
More.
like 10 or 12
Yeah.
people. So we want to make sure if they had a good experience that they're going to tell a few people or what have you, but we just want to confirm that. So without a question mark.
You know, and you can get business and you can get referrals by getting some great Google reviews. And I'm going to share a tactic that has worked really well for our business. I would love to hear one of yours.
Sure.
So after every real estate sale, after every home we sell, whether they're a buyer or a seller, or somebody we've referred to another advisor somewhere in the world, we'll call them. I'll personally call them and I'll say, hey, Tom, how was your experience working with my team? Oh, it was fantastic. It was great. Yada, yada, yada. It was this and that, which we hear most of the time. Once in a while, we might hear, oh, you know what? Everything was really good, but the financing came in a little late, this, that. Now, keep in mind, that's out of the realtor's control.
Right.
Okay?
Yep.
Then I say, well, let me ask you this, Tom. Did my team communicate with you to let you know every step of the way that was going on? Yes, absolutely. Okay, great. So it sounds like that was something that was on the bank's end, which I totally understand. But ultimately, you got to the closing table, right? Yes. Do you love your new home? Yes, absolutely. Okay, so the service that my team brought to you, if you had to rate it 1 to 10, where would it be? And most of the time they're saying 8, 9, 10, right?
Yep.
And then I always ask if it's under 10, what would we be able to do to make it a 10? Yep. And then they might say, well, it's, this or that. And I say, thank you so much for that feedback. We're always looking to grow our business and to be better. And because you had such a great experience and we had a great experience with you, Tom, I'd love to work with more people like you. Could you give me 2 or 3 different people that are thinking about buying or selling homes in the next 6 months? And if they say no, then you go back and you say, okay, great. Well, can I depend on you anytime you're out in your neighborhood, at the grocery store, at church, at work, at the soccer team, wherever you are, when you hear of somebody, can I depend on you to give them one of my business cards? I'm going to mail you a couple.
Yep. And you literally from start to finish nailed that completely on the head, because you're supposed to, from the moment that we think someone had a good experience or they think that we passed business or something, we want to ask them for a review in the spot, and even make it as easy as possible. And if it's something where we can give them just a Google link, or if it's something that if it's just normally when we do any type of like review campaigns, we ask one question: did you have a 5-star experience? And if they didn't have a 5-star experience, why didn't they have it? So very similar to if we don't want them to, they can be rating us, but if they didn't have the most perfect experience, we want to know why, because that's going to help us craft someone else is not going to have that type of experience. Reviews, though, I started the agency as a review and reputation agency. In all of our research, we need 7 to 12 times, no, 4 to 7 times asking for a review before someone will actually give a review.
Wow.
Normally it's at the 7th time.
I'm going to write that down mentally here, because we're only sending it out once to people.
Yeah, so we developed a tool, so when we put in the emails or the phone numbers, it sends over the course of 10 days emails and text messages.
Wow.
And all of they're very, because you have to remember, leaving a review is someone's last priority, really. I mean, unless they are really, really ecstatic, but I mean, it's like, takes time to do, they have to stop their day, so blah, blah, blah. So we know that we want to be, again, not everyone's checking emails, not everyone's checking text messages. We want to make sure, hey, did you have a 5-star experience? We want to hear about it. And most of the time on the 4th ask is where we see someone finally say, okay. We're talking about all of this, automations, email, text messaging. There's a lot of very specific laws that are put in place. And a lot of these laws are new as of this year. Canned spam laws, so spamming emails over text messaging. So yes, you can do all of these type of things on your own, but we have to make sure all the back ends put in place, because
Yeah.
right now deliverability for emails is like in the garbage.
Yeah.
So we just want to make sure all of those things are put in place, because if we think we're doing all of the follow up and we think we're doing all the emailing, all of that good information might be in someone's spam.
Hmm.
So we just want to make sure that it's actually being delivered as well.
That's where the relationship comes in, and that's why, working your current clients is going to be so important for your success in the future markets. And the other thing too with reviews that came to my mind as you were talking is the law of diminishing returns.
Hmm.
And you're familiar with that
Hmm.
law?
Hmm.
And the law of diminishing returns, what it does is it tells you that every second that goes by after you have met or exceeded your client's expectations, their type of review that they're going to give you and how happy they are is just going to go down.
Right.
Right? You're only in that euphoric state for that moment, for that time. So if you are, if you're a digital marketing company and you knock the ball out of the park and your client calls you and says, thank you, thank you, thank you so much, right? Then and there, you need to hit them. Hey, I know you're all excited about this. I love this. I want to capture your excitement, Tom. Can you please right now, can you please put this, your words you're feeling right now into a review? It'll take you 3 seconds.
Exactly.
Please.
Exactly. Because it's going to help another family or their friends or someone else. So yeah, most of the time, and then when they're in that moment, they are so willing to. Like when we work with any service-based businesses that maybe they just did landscaping or just put a pool in, and they're on over the moon at that point. Everyone's really, really happy. You may be able to get 2 reviews, the husband and the wife. So I mean, strike it when it's hot, make it really easy for the consumer to be able to leave that review. If you go on your Google, you can get a QR code, you get a direct link. You can put those things that if you're just a one-man band and have zero budget, at the end of the day, at least do that. Get your reviews and get a free MailChimp or free CRM system so you can get at least your baseline put in place. And if you're already doing good amount of automations or nurture, make sure you're doing a good job. Make sure that in nurture automations, they really should be adjusted every 3 to 6 months, because it might seasonality might change, government might change, something might change. So we don't want to be talking about. For instance, we started working with a new client the past week, and we were reviewing all their stuff, and they have automations for COVID. And we were saying we might, so literally to this day, they're sending out reminders to patients to wear masks before coming in. So it's like, and that might give a clientele a weird experience, because do they have to, that's out of context? Do they have to come in with it? So it's just those type of things we just want to make sure. Yes, we like to set it and forget it, but also we just want to make sure it's accurate as well.
And when things like that happen, it makes your business look like you're out of touch. I'm going to get vulnerable for a second here. We have a fantastic system, right? And the follow-up system that we have during a transaction has like 65 touch points with our clients when they're going through selling a home.
Totally.
One of the things that I realized recently, I told our transaction coordinator, he's the one that sends all the emails, now it's time to get utility readings, this or that, was for our out of town, out of state clients, out of country clients, they were getting an email saying, hey, it's time to meet with the fire marshal to get your smokes done. And I go, oh my gosh, we need to change that. Because these folks are out of the country. They're in Germany. And they're like, Emilio, we're not there. Why did you guys send this? I said, I'm so sorry. That's part of our automated system. Now what happens? Now they feel like they're, that it's not for them. It's not catered to them. So there's a lot of lessons in the failures that that we have. That's not even a major failure. No. But now we've tweaked it where it says, hey, listen, your advisor's going to go meet the fire marshal. If the smoke detectors aren't working right, we'll have somebody out and reinstall them.
Exactly.
We'll take care of this. You'll be billed at the closing. Super convenient, frictionless.
Right. And I mean, those things happen in marketing. We're not going to have a perfect scenario every single time. Just being able to self-identify that there was an issue, thanks for bringing it to our attention. We're so sorry this happened. Those type of things. I mean, it's it's one in 1,000. You know what I mean? And those things are just going to happen because it's just the name of the game.
You know, business is already tough enough. We have so much that we have to do on an everyday basis, from marketing to sales to tax stuff to all of the administrative things going behind the scene. There's just so much that we do as business people, as salespeople, and as entrepreneurs. And it's important to have the right people working on your behalf. And that's why I strongly suggest to link up with Tom Canterino of LevelUP Digital Solutions. Tom has the ability and the knowledge and the expertise and experience to be able to get your business from where you are to where you want to be. So go ahead and Google them, connect with us, and follow us on social media, Instagram. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook, YouTube. Make sure to subscribe and hit the alerts. And you can hear this on Spotify, SoundCloud, and iHeartRadio. Tom, loved having you on again. Thank you so much. We're going to have you back again. Awesome.
Appreciate it.
Good stuff. This is The Wealth Architect. I'm Emilio DiSpirito, and we just covered follow-up marketing that is going to catapult your business to where you want it to be. We'll see you next week. God bless.